Beatle, ook namens Beatlesfanclub.nl. Hele speciale gast vandaag. Sam Leach, de man die ooit...
That's me.
That's him.
He loves me, man, you know.
He promoted the Beatles. Hij gaat jullie alles over vertellen.
I managed him, the first manager. Oliver wasn't the manager, I was.
En hij was de eerste manager. Nou, ik geef het woord aan Sam Leach. You were the first manager.
What it was, Oliver Williams was an agent. He did a fine job getting to Hamburg, but I was the only one that was going to manage them. And Bob Buller wrote in his book, Sam Leach was the only other viable manager other than Epstein who managed the Beatles. But when we went to Aldershot, the advert didn't go in, the local paper. If I got on hope, I rang the paper and said the gig was cancelled. So sabotage. So on the way back to Beatles, we only got 18 people. 19 really, one guy kept coming in, asking when the bingo was starting. Anyway, on the way back to Liverpool, they went in the van, I went in the car, and that's when they decided to go, that's it, rather than me. And on the Monday when they got back, I got a phone call from John and Paul, and they said, come and see us, son, it's important. So I went down, they wouldn't look at me. And do you want to translate that, or do you need to?
Zijn de mensen die je vertalen willen, of kun je het ook gewoon begrijpen? Oké, dan gaan we gewoon lekker door. They can understand.
Oh, that's great, that's great. As long as I can. Anyway, I said, what's the matter, lads? John says, son, we've got this millionaire who wants to manage us. And Paul McCartney, he's a millionaire, son, like that, you know. So what are you talking about? I'm your manager, what are you talking about? I was fuming, you know, as you can imagine. They said, no, he's got all the money and he'll still be with us. Anyway, we'll make sure of that. Will you go and have a word with them? And whatever you say, we'll go by it. So the next day I went to see Epstein. And I turned out I'd met him before without realising. I'll tell you about that later. So after talking to him for about 10 minutes, I thought, he's genuine, he's got money, obviously. And I thought, all right, man, I think they could do it with you. Shook hands and went back to the grapes. Halfway back I thought, if I go in there and tell the Beatles that Epstein's the right man, I've lost them. I'm not going to tell the truth. But when I walked in and they looked at me trusting, I couldn't tell lies. I'm too much of a fool for my own good. I said, I think you'll make it with him, lads. He's the guy for you. Remember me when you're famous. And John said, you'll be with us, but don't worry, son. Well, as John later wrote, life is what happens to you when you're busy making other plans. Ron Epstein didn't want anybody else getting credit. He and I were quite friendly at first, picking my brain. I didn't take long. And he just wanted everybody to think it was all him. But people like Mrs. Best and myself, Bob Wooler, we're the people that made the Beatles.
You're referring to Mona Best, the mother of Pete Best.
Effie took over a going concern because everybody in Liverpool knew they were destined for the top. They were that good. First time I saw them, I got told to come back from Hamburg. Can you all understand me?
Sure. Yeah. Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Am I talking too quickly? I might have to slow down anyway because my voice is going. So I went to this hall in Leiden, bad area. I now go area really. And I was very, very nervous. There were Teddy boys fighting at the back. And one of them came over to me and said, do you want to fight now? I said, no, son, the fight's over there. Anyway, I'm getting very nervous. Horrible smell in the hall. Hamilton Hall, it's Bob Bulters gig, you know. And about to go, and all of a sudden, I heard the William Tell Overture. I thought, why are they playing classical music for this gang of Arabs? You know, no disrespect to Arabs. Anyway, I turned towards the stage, and the curtains fell apart. Well, they were decomposing anyway, the curtains. And there was the 5 of them. Stuart was with them then. And John's daughter was slowed down. Paul came in with hippie shake. Then George did Henry VIII. Stuart Sutcliffe mumbled Wooden Heart with his back to the audience, which I didn't know why then. It ended up costing me a very embarrassing moment. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And then Pete Bested Matchbox. Well, I was hooked. They were the best rock and roll band on the planet at that very moment. Better than anything from America. They were fantastic. And black leather, they looked the part. Paul McCartney used to roll around the stage like a lunatic, you know. Anyway, when the gig finished, I was hooked. I knew this is the band I've been looking for. So I followed them down to the dressing room. That was a ladies' toilet converted. I walked in and John was sitting here and Paul was standing there. And I said, hey lads, you know, one day you're going to be as big as Elvis. John looked at me like I was mental. We got what was it here, Paul? But Paul knew I had a new club opening. He said, yeah, we've got work for us, haven't you, Mr. Leach? Mr. Leach. So I gave him 10 bucks that first night. £8 for the band. I increased that to £10 after about a fortnight, 2 weeks. But on the first gig they played for me was February the 9th, 1961. 3 years later, to the very day, I saw him. It's amazing, isn't it? Anyway, I never realised how bad a guitarist Stuart was. He was only in the band because he won a competition, an art competition. And with a £60 cheque, he bought them an amplifier. The John said, well, you can be in the band. Anyway, what they used to do, when they did an instrumental, they'd unplug Stuart's guitar. And he'd be there bashing the guitar, no sound coming out. Until I stepped in. I saw the plug unplugged and I plugged it in. The sound that came out was excruciating. It was like 10 cats getting run over by a lorry, which then backs over them. Paul jumping across the stage. The bloody fool son, don't know he can't play. That would have been fine, except he came out over the mics. Everybody in the club heard it. I thought about that thing. Stuart would speak to me for a week. He never said much, but Stuart Sutcliffe, very important. He was the James Dean of the band. Good looking lad, you know. Looked like James Dean, acted like him. Like we all did in those days. I was Elvis and then I was James Dean. I saw James Dean in East of Eden. And I came home all made up, walking like, you know. He got killed that weekend. Very weekend. Got killed on Beatles. Where he
the weekend you saw East of Eden.
And no, that didn't you heard just saw one picture.
Yeah, the picture, yes.
And that was sad, that he'd have been a great actor, wouldn't he? I mean, he made 3 great films, Giant and Rebel Valley Cross. And I was watching East of Eden last week again. I got a big telly now, you know, it's much better than that. Anyway, so 2 weeks later, I was running the Casanova Club, which is too far away from the cabin for my liking. The Campbells were in jazz then, because the owner Ray McFaul, he was a jazz freak. He hated rock and roll. So I thought, I'm going to teach him the business. And I got the Iron Door, which is 100 yards away from the cabin. Anyway, on my first all-night session, March the 11th, 1961, we had 12 bands, 12 hours, fantastic night. We got 1,800 people in the end. What happened, all the young kids go home at midnight, and the older crowd came in afterwards, you know. That night, the cabin, doing jazz, had 50 people in it. there's more musicians than fans. 10 days later, Ray got the message and he went over to rock and roll at night. And so I can claim that I dragged the cabin into the rock and roll area, kicking and screaming. Ray used to put them on at lunchtime only. You wouldn't put them on at night. And they were going to play for me in the afternoon. And Ray said to John, if you play for Leach, you won't play the cabin again. So when you think about it, they played there 292 times in there, and they made the club famous, rightfully so. And when John said, what will we do? Said John, I said, you get 3 gigs a week off them. So look, I don't mind you playing at lunchtime, as long as you don't mess about at night. Because I was giving them 5 bookings a week, you know, every week. 2 sometimes on the same night. So they went away to do that. And my mate Terry McCann, I never knew this at the time. I wish I had done, I would have done it. He went to the Wizard's Den, a tube shop, and they got half a dozen stink bombs. And as the cabin opened at lunchtime, he walked in, lobbing the bombs all around the cabin. I'm surprised I noticed the difference. Next thing, they had to close the cabin that day. Leonard's coming round the corner with his amplifier. What have you done now, Leach? You've closed the cabin. I didn't know what he was talking about then. Anyway, the funny thing of it all was, they played me that day. But I always had a band on every lunchtime in the afternoons after 2 o'clock. Rolling Stone and the Wild Ones. What Ray McFall never found out, the Wild Ones was John, George and Paul. He never found out he died recently. I suppose someone must have told him in there.
And was Ringo there too?
No,
Because he was playing with Rolling Stone.
Ringo, I never used to miss. Ringo was a good singer. He used to do Boys, Hit the Road Jack, and What Did I Say? And when sometimes it's What Did I Say, would last 20 minutes. And Rory, can I give me the mic back, give me the mic back, Rory was the main singer on Rory Stone. And the fight and they broke the mic and shouted for it. But Ray was a good. We used to go out and dance together, me and him, with the girls, you know. Me and him got more girls than anyone. They're all just joking. I only got the girls promotion. Wasn't looks. Anyway, when that summertime came, and in the summer, you didn't bother promoting, because everybody wants to go to the beach, don't they? So, in June '61, I wanted to start my own record label, Troubadour Records. I'd already, Bill Holly wanted to do a jazz paper. I said, Bill, forget it, I'll back it, we'll do a rock paper. So that was fine, we agreed on that, and I was going to put a lot of money into it. But then, one Saturday night, I was making a lot of money from the Casanova Club. One Saturday night, the chief constable of Liverpool was walking home and heard the noise, because somebody opened the window. And when he went around to see what was going on, there was 2 drums outside, but they weren't from my club, they're from the Black Cat from above. The following Monday he rang the owner, Samson. He said, close that club. So I lost the Casanova Club after 2 months. So I couldn't afford to finance Merseybeat. But I got my mate Dick Matthews, who's dead now. He put £200 up and got it going again. Anyway, so then I recorded Jerry Marsden, You'll Never Walk Alone. The tent was on the B-side in Lander Records, Crosby, Liverpool, in June '61. And I couldn't get the money to finance it. So it was close when John came back from Hamburg, he said, we'll do Christian Jug for you at the end of the year. But then everything stuck his nose in, didn't it?
So you had a lot of bad luck.
Not
with
really.
the
No, I think they'd have made more money with me, the Beatles. But must give Brian up. So even though he was bad to me, that sounds like a song, right?
Yeah. They should write that one.
Oh, I know. I still say he deserves a statue, and I'm trying to help organise a statue in Liverpool. Because he did a good job. He made a few mistakes. I'll give you an example. I would never have sold the songs so cheaply, because they were gold. He never saw that. But when he first went to America, he talked to his agent, and the agent wanted to sell Beatles dolls, Beatles cakes, everything Beatles, and the agent only wanted 15%. So he said to Brian, will 15% be okay? Brian said, I'll take it. So the fellow gets 85%, and only gets 15%. That was a mistake, wasn't it? He cancelled my contract after the year, mind you. But that first year, when my book, I actually got my book Beatles on Broadway. Go on eBay, you can find it, about $20. It sold 1 million copies in 11 languages. That came out in '64, April. And even how that came out was a funny story. At least I hope you find it funny. I had this fella in London. I got the idea, what I knew, if you look on Ed Sullivan, I knew that was it, we're going to make it big time. So I got to the fella in London. They were called a fellow called Parcher and Russell, but the director was a fellow called Holmes. And if you can imagine Oliver Hardy, bowler hat, suit 2 sizes too small, belly's taken out. And he's going to take me in to see Lord Thompson of Fleet. He was the biggest media mogul at that time, bigger than Murdoch, much bigger. So he gets an appointment with Lord Thompson. And outside, this Holmes says to me, now Sam, don't you go in talking, you're a bit common, you won't like your accent. So I listened to him. So we get inside, and Lord Johnson's sitting there with all his reporters, you know. And this fellow Holmes starts talking about my mock-up book, the mock-up, which I had, as though it was a long-lost Shakespearean manuscript. I thought, what's he talking about, fool, you know? Lord Johnson goes to one of his men, get them out. We kicked out the street. So I get outside, I grabbed the manager and thought, you fool, you're sacked. And I stormed back in. And the meeting was just coming to an end. And I walked in, I'll stand up for this. Stomach's been off. And he's sitting there, and all his reporters around him looking at me. He says to me, did I just throw you out, young man? I said, you did, mistake. And I slammed the manager on the desk in front of him, and the noise of it reverberated around the room, and all the quote, you can't talk to Lord Thompson like that. He looked up at me and goes, that's what I call a presentation. And he fixed the phone up. Didn't even look at the manuscript properly. He rings World Distributors in Manchester. He owned them, you know. So I go and do this thing in the office here. I call Sam Leach from Liverpool. But I think he's got a good idea, a good book. You're doing it. It wasn't a question of, will you do it? You're doing it. So they released it. And in the end, they sold 1 million copies in 11 languages, including Dutch. So somewhere, Phil Porter with the publishers. So do your homework on Google.
We're going to take a look for it.
Yeah, but it's a great book. It's only a picture book, you know. And but it was really, like my own book that I've written now, Broken City, I like it to breathe and be interesting and make people feel as though they were there. The Beatles on Broadway, the pictures are brilliant, and they're all my copyright. The funny thing is, I was writing United Press International, And I said, look, will you get me 100 pictures and I'll give you £300. And they didn't want to do it. They said, oh, we don't think it'll work. This is before they went. Anyway, I said, take my word for it, they're going to be big time. So in the end, they do it, and of course it all worked great. So I'm in their office in London, and they got all the Times, the Daily Express, Lord Johnson people, every major newspaper's there. I'm there with holes in my shoe, looking like a trout. And I'm getting the pictures, I get the first choice. Don't want that, you can have that. And I'm giving them my cast off. I'm all there in a cavalier coat. Who's this guy? But I got the best pictures. And if you get a copy of the book, you'll find at least 80% of the pictures you've never seen before. Because they're my copyright.
So you won't find them anywhere else?
Don't print them. Unless you show me. So,
what are your memories about Pete Best? Because a lot of people say he was a bad drummer, some people say he was a very good drummer.
Pete Best was a decent drummer. I was in Sweden with him a couple of years ago, and I said that he put the beat into the Beatles. He wasn't as good a drummer technically as Ringo, and Ringo was a better singer. But what Ringo was, he was a better Beatle. See, Pete Best, a nice guy, an introvert, too shy, wouldn't do the hair, didn't do a lot of things. So he wasn't a true Beatle, whereas Ringo was perfect. And it's a sad thing what happened to Pete. The night after he got sacked, I went to see him. I said, Pete, let's tell her what's happened to you, but listen to me. You are the 5th Beatle. Let's form a band. And we formed a band called the Pete Best Combo, which we changed then to the Pete Best 4. And I sent him around the country on quite a few gigs. Eventually he joined Lee Curtis and the All Stars. But Pete was a good drummer, make no mistake. Lovely guy, gentleman, but too shy. And when Ringo went to America, believe it or not, he was the most popular Beatle. Can you believe that? He was always laughing and Anyway, when the record thing fell through, I had a bit of a bad time that summer. But I always had, there's a great big ballroom in New Brighton, it's not there now. Over in New Brighton, a quarter-hour ferry ride from the Pearhead, Liverpool. I used to go there as a kid, and I thought, I'll put a gig on there. So I went to see the owners. I had to borrow £1 to get the ferry boat, that's how long it was. And when I walk in, John McCarter was the manager, and Bill Roberts was the CEO, the managing director. So I'm telling him about my idea of putting a band, Operation Big Beat on. And he said, oh, we don't think that will work. I said, trust me, he said, it will work. This is November '61. Take my word for it, it'll be a big time. So alright, then well, look, I'll give you one try. They let me have it for £50, which is cheap. So as I was walking out, I said to them, tell me guys, what's the record attendance at the tower? They started laughing. You got no chance getting there, that song. Joe lost 3,300. And I said, we'll beat that. I was always full of confidence. And as I walked out, I could still hear them laughing as we were going down the stairs. Anyway, I put some adverts in the Echo. And 10 days later, I went back with the posters, the tickets and the flyers. And as I walked in, Sam, the ball hasn't stopped. We said it'd be good, didn't we, Bill? But give them credit, they were really good to me. They really worked hard for me, you know. And in the end, November the 10th, '61, despite the fog, it's foggy, I got 4,100 people. At that time, that was a Beatle attendance record in England. John Lennon said, hey Sam, we'll have to have some more of these tower gigs. Said, right, so we'll do another one in 2 weeks. Paul had a fit. Sam, you'll ruin it. You always do too much. So wait and see. 2 weeks later, 24th of November, 4,600. And those 2 gigs are Beatle attendance records in the British mainland. I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
And that was when I decided I was going to manage them. I went down to Aldershot, to London rather. I couldn't get a gig, I couldn't get a hold in London. That's why I had to go to Aldershot, which is an army town, you know. But when I was in London, I was talking to Teacher Burns. He was the biggest agent in the country. Telling about the Beatles, how good they were, come and see them. Sam, we've got 5,000 groups in London. Who needs a band with a stupid name like the Beatles? So I remind them of that. I used to ring him when they were becoming famous. I'd ring him, I'll be his down teacher, and he put it in there and he wouldn't answer, he wouldn't pick the phone up. And I went down there to book Manfred Mann. Do I did he? And Malcolm Rose, his assistant, I said to him, his teacher went. He went, like that, he's in his office, but don't say nothing. So I opened the door and there's nobody there. And I see Cheeter's feet underneath the kitchen curtain. Come out, Cheeter, the Beatles are in town. He came out laughing. He said, I wish I'd listened to this song. I said, what do you mean? You didn't come here, I don't know. Anyway, because London agents are sharp, you know. So as I say, I'm not a fun in life. You know, a lot of fun.
And you wrote a book.
Yes.
Why should people buy your book? Just because
Can
you
I
love
wrote
book. Yeah.
Let me tell you about this book. Now this is, I don't need this, I'm not many left anyway. But when you've read this book, there's only about 7 left by the way. I didn't bring mine. You'll know what it was like being there, being me. Because I've written this, I've made it funny. Here and there over Rory Storm, it's sad. But it's a funny book. And when you've read it, you'll know what it's like being there. But don't lend it to your friends because you won't get it back. Now, anybody, if you come up later and you want one, I've got any left. I give them a card, we can do it by mail order. There's the DVD. That's 2 hours long. Plays anywhere, universal. Brilliant. Got pictures, photographs, stories, everything. So I'm quite proud of that, you know.
I watched it yesterday.
Huh?
I watched it yesterday.
You like it?
Yeah, I like it.
Am I right? Am I exaggerating?
No.
I don't believe in exaggerating. I'm lucky that I was there at the time. And I always like to think that they were lucky too. Because when they came back from Hamburg in August '61, if you read Philip Norman's book, they're on the verge of breaking up. Because George had got deported from his age, and things weren't working out that well. They set the club on fire, didn't they? That was true, that.
With a condom.
That's it, yeah. And in the book, Philip Norman says, luckily for the Beatles, they met Sam Leach again. So, even though Brian Epstein airbrushed me out of the story, he told his PR guy, Tony Barrow, don't mention Sam Leach. Or Mona Best. See, Mona Best, she was always saying, it's Pete's band. I did this and I did that, which she did do a lot. She got them on television first, not Epstein. So she was great. And I always feel, Epstein worked me out eventually, which you read about in the book. Don't want to talk about it because it upsets me even now. But he also worked Mrs. Best out by sacking Pete. And I told Pete this, and Pete said, you know what? I never thought of that, you're probably right. People say Paul and John went around, they didn't. Pete was a nice guy. He wasn't a Beatle like they were, but he was okay, good drummer. So, there you go. Mr. Pitt's done alright of it. He got thrown off with a band in the anthology.
Yeah.
I wasn't even mentioned in the anthology. And the Liverpool Echo, when I knowed about it, when they came around to see me, Because I was the main man. I had 3 clubs, everyone full. I'm not being big-headed, well I am. I had 3 clubs going. I was the king of Merseybeat. John Lennon called me the pulse of Merseybeat. Paul McCartney called those days the Sam Leach era. So I must have done some good, it's like. Everything didn't want me mentioned though. You know. There you go.
But Epstein is not around anymore, and you are.
Yes, I am, just about. Hey, this morning I was in agony out of constipation, tell you what, not nice. I'm alright now though.
Okay.
And my voice is okay.
Yeah.
There was something else I was going to tell you, I can't think what it was. Oh yeah. Does anybody, do you all know who Lonnie Donegan was?
Lonnie Donegan.
Yeah.
Skiffle player.
I've always said he should have a statue because he was the cause of Merseybeat. See what happened? When he was doing the skiffle, it was a washboard and a tea chest. So a band could get on the stage on the cheap because the war just ended, hadn't it? And I'm sure that you know it. And you know, people didn't have much money. So when they could get playing a band on the cheap, great, there were 600 skiffle bands in Liverpool. Was it 600? And when the skiffle boom did die, about 2 years later, once they got it into their system, under their skin, they were never going to stop performing. Became 300 rock bands, 300. I had the best 30. There were a lot of the good bands as well. But the funny thing about Lonnie Donegan, there was some friends of mine called the Spinners. They were a folk music band. And they were running the Cavern, Monday one week, Tuesday the next. And they said, well, I come on a committee and I can book the groups. Well, I'm booking rock bands, Rolling Stone, the Skylines and Jerry. They didn't realise. They only wanted folk music. But I had a set of drums. Now I must have been the worst drummer in the world. Good enough to be in a Spinal Tap, definitely. I might not have lasted long. So they used to let me play the drums with them. I used to just use the brushes. You can get away with on the brushes. So this is a lot of fun. Folk music club. Who walks in after about 2 weeks? Lonnie Donegan himself. He goes, I want you to me. I'm trying to get off the stage, you know. He said, give me a drum roll. So I got my snare drum and I rolled it down the stage. So that's the only drum roll you get from me, Lonnie, I'm sorry. So right away he thinks I'm a comedian and I got away with murder up to that. But I got sacked from the committee that night. Because they'd run with that Rory Stone with the rock band. Do you know Rory Stone once got fined by Ray McFall £1 for playing the rock number? Whole lot of shaking going on. Rory sang it, and he got a note by Ray McFall, cut out the part of expression, effing rock. That's what he said. And he fined him £1 out of his wages. That's Ray McFall.
He didn't like rock and roll.
He had to remain with me.
Because it made a lot of money to him.
Well, I give him credit, you know. It was a good promotion.
Yeah.
He had a lovely blue minivan, yellow, with all the cap and stuff on it, you know. I should have got everything really. The funny thing is, my first full-time gig, this is a significant date, April the 1st, 1960. Sometimes I think that was an appropriate date, you know. My grandson was born on that day too. Anyway, so I got St. George's Hall. And this will make enough, I'm sure. So the corporation said, you can have it, but we don't want any rock and roll on, just jazz. So I had to call it jazz band ball, but I had Rory Stone, pacemakers on the Skywalk or something. We had them on another stage at the other end of the hall, put them on in between the 2 jazz bands. But I went to the Cavern. They had a band I liked called, I did like jazz, you know, called the Red River Jazzmen from Manchester. So I said, Ray, would you mind if they played for me that one night? So he didn't know me, and I looked a bit green. He must have thought, he won't be any competition to me. Okay, he let me help him. Then I went to the Mardi Gras Club, so stand moments. And we got the Mississippi Jazz Band, Beatlesfanclub Ford. And they must have thought the same thing. They looked a bit of an amateur, going to affect our attendance. Well, that night, I got nearly 3,000 people in St. George's Hall. The Calvin and the Mardi Gras were both empty. So they never did me any favours again. But what was funny about it, the corporation had also said to me, you can only have 1,200 tickets, 1,250, which is crazy because the place is huge, St. George's Hall, biggest building in Liverpool. So what I did, I got 2 lots of tickets printed. One is 1,200 for two different tickets. So they had an old guy on the front door, taking the tickets as they come in. So fine, now before that night, I got over to the Empire that night, in the daytime, because Bobby Darren, Dwayne Eddy, Emil Ford, and I forget who the fourth, I think it might have been Del Shannon, I forget now. 4 big stars, big show in the Empire. And I get to stage to Johnny, I said, look, there's VIP on the tickets, invite them over after the show, because the bars don't come 1 o'clock. In those days, bars closed and said to me, I had a special license. So I went back and forgot about it, busy. And then one of the bouncers around about 4 till midnight, Sam, you're in trouble. He knew about the tickets. The old guy at the door was having a fit. He said, you've been fiddling the tickets. I was not going to find out because I'd hidden the tickets. And I go back and he's got a ticket, VIP, bit on it. So one of them must have come over then. So I go to the door, and this is no lie. It's so funny. I open the door, and there's on the step is Bobby Darren, Clark McFasser, Dwayne Eddy, and Emil Ford. And Bobby's got a suit and silk shirt, and it's raining dripping down his suit. And the old guy won't let them in. It's just too late. So this is Bobby Darren, one of the biggest stars in the bloody world. He wouldn't let them in. So I said, Bobby, do me a favour. Sing a couple of songs, he knows who you are. So he sang, he did sing in the rain. And then he just backed the line. And the poor guy, never heard of him. But then he stood in it for, now before had a record out, Emma became a good mate of mine. What do you want his eyes at me for? That was #1 that week. He goes, the jockey's alright, I like him. Okay, then come in. And after you go past this, the old guy says to me, I like the jockey, but that Bobby Darren was rubbish. So I won't wait away. Forget the show. I'm in the VIP room then with Bobby and all of them drinking away. And Clark McFasser and they went any and fighting with soda fountains. And everybody on the road, they could hit each other. But Bobby Darren entertained us with shows. He did great shows, Little Richard, Elvis, every artist you could think of. What a fantastic artist he was.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what, Sam? He said, the best night I've ever had. He really enjoyed it. When I come back, I'll look him up, you know. Unfortunately, he died a few years later. Now I've got one more funny story to tell you. I hope you find it funny. When I got married, I got engaged March 1762. And the Beatles were there, and Epstein and Bob Wooler, Rory Storm, and banded up. And we were having a good time. I made sure I put a gig up on Naughty Ash Hall, and I made like 100 quid, spent that on drink. We didn't run out of nothing. All the best food you get, it was really good. So, halfway through the night, John Lennon is drunk. He's in the kitchen. And you remember the Birds' Nest hairstyles? Do you remember the girls that?
The Beehive.
Beehive.
Oh, the Beatles.
He's rolling eggs, raw eggs down them, and they're crashing on the floor. There's about a dozen all over the kitchen. Mother-in-law came in, she really slapped his face. Clean her up, and she made him clean her up, and he's nearly crying, apologising, you know. Anyway, the next afternoon, when they're all going, John throws his arms on me. Sammy said, that was the best party I've ever been to in my life. When are you getting engaged again, he said. and as he went away, I slipped a raw egg into his pocket. I've never found out from that day to this whether or not he went back down. John and I used to have some fun though. When in the book, I've got pictures there. I wanted to sing with the Beatles on the second Operation Big Beat. I did 40 altogether. The second one I was drunk. And I just made like a year's wages in one night. And I said to Paul, I'd love to I had a good singing voice. I used to do a really good thing at Buddy Holly. And when I was that age, I looked a bit like him, you know. Not now, but then. So, probably look like him now if you took his favour. Anyway, Paul was all for it. And if you look at the pictures I've got, you'll see it. He's all happy, you know. Lennon didn't want to do it. So whenever I wanted to sing, he played something else. And what annoyed me, I tried his second band, and he played something else. Alright, I just gave up then. But at the end of the night, I used to give them all whiskey at the gig. I put salt in John's. And he knocked it back and his face didn't change. I had fun days though. And the strange thing is, sometimes I can't remember stuff 5 years ago. But I can remember every one of those days like it was last week. Amazing. I suppose it's natural, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I was a lucky guy and they were lucky as well.
Yeah.
So I think I made my promise.
Yes, did you?
I touched wood. I promised my youngest daughter I get to 97. So hopefully he might invite me back. They're doing a film on me, by the way. Coming out, it's going to be called Leach and the Beatles. Or it might be called Prince and Mersey Beat, I'll show you. It comes out next spring.
Okay.
I'm hoping we're trying to get it on the Cannes Film Festival. It'll be a good film too. Okay,
Surely watch that one. Shall we give the others
if you want.
a go? Ga ik deze vraag hebben voor Sam Leach?
Mr. Leach, you obviously you knew.
Sam, my name's Sam. You're a good bit nervous on
Yes, Sam. Obviously you knew the Beatles in
I
those
can't
days.
hear you there, but you come better. I'm short-sighted. I'm limping a lot.
Yes. Obviously, here I am. Obviously, yes, Robert.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you. Obviously, you knew the Beatles way back then, and we all know them, but just their image. How were they really? Was Paul really on the penny and so, and George was the son?
Absolutely professional.
Yeah.
It really was. Everything he did was political, professional. He wanted everything done right. I mean, it was Paul really that got Sergeant Pepper going.
Yeah.
He did everything. Joe was a bit lazy in that way. And actually, there was a time when John had got a bit lazy and he hadn't been in there. He wrote for about 9 months. And in that time, Paul wrote and produced and released Can't Buy Me Love with no part of it from John. He still put John's name on it. So he wasn't doing anything dodgy, you know. So when John came back, he was annoyed about it. His next song was, You Shouldn't Do That. And then he wrote, I should have known better. But then, as I say, Paul was a real pro.
Yeah.
Lovely guy. If he's here now, if he's dancing amongst you having a laugh, probably less bigger than I am. He's that nice a guy. Now, John, all the talk about John being a hard case, was he? John was with me. John once said to me, we love playing for you, you're one of us. And I wasn't in it for the money. I made the money because I loved the shows that much. I put 6 bands on a little shiny gig, you know, because I just loved rock and roll. And John knew that. John was an awful nice guy. He got sarcastic when it was deserved, but not with me. He wouldn't do it with me. I'd have kicked the butt. George,
You were a tough case.
George, I was in Las Vegas a couple of times, and I saw Love. I'm going to be in the podium, and whose music comes out the best? Think, George's. Oh, fun. Well, it's George's idea, originally, don't forget.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant music. And when George died, I was doing a big charity gig in Chicago. And we had a press conference talking about George. And every major network in the world was there. About 100 people. And I gave it a really good interview, which is on my website. You can go to it. samleach.com, you see it. And, well, I know Olivia was made up. I lost my train of thought now, that's something about it. I always felt George, he only got about 2 numbers on a record. It wasn't a pulling down by squeezing him out. Just that they were that powerful. It couldn't be helped, could it? You know? But when they finally broke up, George was delighted, and he was the first one to have a record. My Sweet Lord album and DVD, album and a single, and they both got to #1. So to me, George's music was great, you know, and I had a lot of time for him. Now Ringo was a very lucky guy. He got in the last minute, but he deserved it because he's Ringo, he was a good Beatle, and he did an awful lot for the band as well, and a decent drummer, and my favourite record of his is Photograph. Paul McCartney's Yesterday is my favourite record. Working Class Hero is Jones. And George's was someone. Something. You know what? It was on television one night. And it was on the Sonata. The song was on the Sonata show. And Sonata says, the greatest love song ever written by Paul McCartney. Someone, and I'll show the bloody fool, Brad. It was George, and I ran the office, because I used to be the same agency as he was then. What's the name of him? God, my mind's gone. The biggest agency in New York. And I rang them and said, will you tell Sinatra that it was George Harrison? And they ran back a fortnight later, he told them, and he stole laughing, and he made up for it. He the next time he sang, he did it again, you know. I made a mine, he's doing a pub in New York, Charles Calder. He's dead now, but he managed the Chieftains, the Irish band, and he was involved with the Rolling Stones as well. Anyway, Sinatra insulted one of his staff one night, and he banned them for 6 months. He wouldn't have it. So now they're ringing up, can I call? No, you can't. Eventually, he relented and let him in. Fancy, how can you ban Sinatra? The one person I'd like to be in my life, if it wasn't me, I'd like to be Sinatra.
Really?
I mean, the voice.
Yeah.
Elvis was the star, he was the voice. Me. And it was nice for him.
Yes,
Full of accents for him. And Mother Stewart was an artist.
Yes.
Really brilliant guy. Sad thing, he died. He got beat up at Leiden Hall in Liverpool.
Yes.
And I've always felt that was where he got his German.
Yes.
So, thank
you very much.
Any other questions then? Don't be shy. Okay. You have to speak up more.
Yes, do you ever meet Paul?
Is it this Diane?
Yes.
Oh, good one. So, let me tell you something. I'm into blondes.
Well, I'm actually grey, but so you know. But do you ever meet Paul? Do you have some contact with him or something?
Paul
McCartney, yeah.
Well,
in recent years.
Up there. That was the last
Yeah,
time.
you just, yeah, okay.
It's not dead, that's it.
Yeah. Well,
I went to saw him that night. I was supposed to see him before the show. I went to the football game. And I couldn't get in touch with him. So I go in the show. And I'm down getting a phone call from his PR guy. Where are you? And I can hardly hear him. I said, listen, you fool, you text me. I'm in the show, I'm going to hear you, you know. So he texted me, come round after the show. But when I went round, they were going to let me in at first with that training shoes on. Because my legs, you know. And they let me in. And I'm a season ticket holder at Anfield. That was annoying. So when the ball comes in, as soon as he saw me, he throws his arms on, you know, they're looking well, son. I said, not as good as you, Paul. I said, don't be silly. See, you just done a show on a show. And the show was funny. He was told by the corporation, because of the neighbours, don't go past 10:30 with the noise. So when 10:30 comes, he looks up and he goes, and he sneaks back onto them of the sun. Then he goes up. Comes back and there's another one. I did 6 extra songs. And the corporation, it was reported in the Echo, they fined him 25 grand for doing that. I don't believe that though. There's no way you'd find Paul Osler. I'm going to meet him in May at the O2 for 10 minutes. That's all I can get. He got that many relatives and friends, you know. But he made sure we got that photograph. Nice picture of it. I think I look as good as him today. I'm so humble, aren't I? Any other questions then? Oh, don't be shy.
And Mel Evans and Neil Espinel, did you meet him? Mel Evans?
Neil was the driver. Now you know Rogue was Neil's shot.
Yeah. One of his
That's like, she was big, but not that sexual. I thought to myself, you know, I wasn't married then. Yeah, Neil drove him a lot, you know, and he did a great job, Neil. And he did a good job business-wise when he took over. He really pushed them and made a lot of money for them, you know. So Neil's a nice guy. Deserved what he got. He's dead now. And Rowe got £1.5 million as well. Pete got £2.5 million from the anthology. I didn't get a penny. Never mind. I'm still here.
And
just about.
And Mel Evans?
Mel Evans?
Yeah.
I didn't know Mel that well. He was like a kind of not a hanger on, he was a bouncer really. I've got a feeling he came in more when they were in London.
No, he was a bouncer at the cabin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew. The cabin, nobody go in the cabin.
Yeah.
I told you it was a rival of it.
Yeah, you weren't allowed there.
Yeah, obviously I did know him, but I wouldn't recognise him if I bumped into him. Sad what happened to him, wasn't it? They got killed.
Yeah, not sure.
You should realise if you're in America, you don't run anywhere. Because immediately they go, oh, he's done something wrong, bang, bang, bang. They're going to have you, aren't they? I've been to America 38 times altogether. I've been to Norway twice, Sweden, now Holland. Isn't it Denmark?
The first time in Holland.
The first time? Yeah.
Thank you.
And I've always liked Dutch girls. So.
I'm not Dutch. I'm Canadian, so.
Any more questions?
Last question, maybe?
Yeah.
The last question.
That's it.
Alan Williams wrote a book. What's the biggest lie in the book?
Oh, what were you on there? Well, the first book that I did, The Man Who Gave the Beatles Away, he wasn't the manager. I was the manager. He was an agent. But he did a good job getting to Hamburg. He had two great clubs, the Jacaranda and the Blue Angel. But his first book was A Tissue of Lies. And his old mate, Bob Wallace, said that. But then Alan wrote the second book, The Fool on the Hill, and that is a good book, well worth getting. And Alan's not well now. He's in a home. And his brain is still there, but he's not able to get around anymore. He's 85, I think.